I'm Amy, sex educator, sex and relationship coach, and co-owner of PurePleasureShop.com.
And I'm April, sex toy maven, VP of Hot Octopus, and I've dedicated my life to the business of sex. We're two people with a passion for educating and inspiring shame-free conversations about sex and relationships. Welcome to the Shameless Sex Revolution.
Want to learn more? Go to shamelesssex.com. And for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code shamelesssex at purepleasureshop.com.
You are listening to a pleasure podcast. For more from our sex podcast collective, visit pleasurepodcasts.com.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back to the Shameless Sex Podcast. This is the first podcast episode of June 2024. What does that mean, Chip? What does that mean?
That it's Pride. It's the beginning of Pride Month in many places. Pride can sometimes vary. Sometimes it's in May, sometimes in July. But for a lot of areas in the USA, at least, it is Pride Month, celebrating LGBTQIA plus communities all over.
Yes, exactly. In this episode, we'll discuss bisexuality, and we are super excited to hear all from April Hirschman. And just to let you know, it's not just about bisexuality. She wrote a book called Desire Makes Me Brave. So it's how desire can make you brave. Something about the slut pledge, losing your erotic virginity, a lot of really great hot tips, and also threesomes. There's threesomes in here too.
And she's the sister. I love that we share a name. And she's the sister of Celeste Hirschman,
yes.
which she's been on our show. She's Somatica, one of the Somatica co-founders, Somatica Institute co-founders, who is an absolute brilliant human. And obviously it runs in the family.
Apparently it does.
There you go.
I like their family origin story.
Me too.
And guess what, everyone? We're coming to you. Well, not everyone. Portland, Chicago, Seattle. We're coming to you. We will be in you. And what are we coming for? What are we doing?
So we have this Unleashed tour. This is our first ever live show. It's an event. We're not necessarily doing any workshopping, right? This is Amy and I and some special guests that we've hand selected that are sex positive, sex educators, and it's edutainment. So come and get unleashed with us, meaning get into your shameless selves. Bring your partner, bring your friends, bring your best friend, bring your dad.
Come by yourself, yeah, whatever you want. But so we were like, look, okay, what are we doing here? And so this is what we figured out. It's where shamelessness, sexiness, and laughter, they collide in a hilarious orgy of fun, discovery, and sex edutainment, as April said. And we want you, yes, you, to go buy tickets right meow.
And it's like $25, y'all. We've sold a bunch. These venues that we're performing, because it is a performance. Amy and I are writing our portions where we're going to have comedy. We're going to have maybe some sex singing, sex rapping. You could win prizes. We've got VIP packages where you can hang out with us. Just go to Shameless Sex. As Amy said, the first one is June 16th, so that's Father's Day, and that's in Portland, Oregon. And it's about $25 if you don't want to have the VIP package. $25 gets you entry, and we'll have merchandise. We're still working that out. But it's just like a fun night. A lot of them are on Sundays. I think they're all on Sundays.
We went on Thursday. That's Seattle.
Oh, Seattle's on a Thursday. Yep. Well, there you go. But the other ones are on Sunday. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to hang out with you.
And you might learn a thing or two.
And experiential. It'll be adventure.
Hence why we called it an education orgy, or like an orgy, blah, 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 blah.
It's
not
orgy.
An actual orgy.
It's a hilarious
If you all want to have orgies after, that's on you. That's not what we're creating. But
no, not at all.
Yes. Also, everyone, a fantastic offer for you to get free tickets to our shows. Oh my goodness, go do it. All you do is go and follow us on Instagram. And our lovely sponsors, we have a number of them. I think the first run will be with Uberlube. You know we love them. Giving away 10 free tickets to our shows. So here's what you do. You go to Instagram. You follow Shameless Sex Podcast. Here's the thing. We are shadow banned. So if you can't find us, go to my profile, Amy Shameless Sex. Follow me, and then look up the Shameless Sex Podcast Instagram link, or go to April Lampert's her own Instagram. Find Shameless Sex Podcast. Go follow us through that. That's what Shadowban is doing. Then you go follow us. You'll see the contests, and this is how you will get the free tickets to come to our shows. So go and do it right. Meow, meaning meow and meow. And if you want to learn more, just go to shamelesssex.com, like April said. And we have a little teaser video that's kind of sexy there, too.
On our website.
Yep.
Land on it. Okay.
Go land on this.
Land on it. Land on shamelesssex.com and land on it.
Ready to land on this sex question?
I'm excited for it.
All right, here we go. I've been with my husband for 10 years now and I love him so much, but our sex life is so boring. I listen to podcasts like yours and keep hearing about ways couples spice things up or even talk about sex. And I wish we were one of those couples. He never initiates conversations about sex. And when I try, I kind of freeze up and get nervous too. Any advice on how to make this easier or fun or sexy?
Well, obviously our book, but that's not what this is about. I mean, that's always a good way.
A whole chapter on that.
Some people don't want to read, and so we can make it easy and fun with a game, right?
So yeah, there's been all these games out there, like they roll the dice and it's like lick this nipple here and kiss there, and that's fun for like 5 minutes once.
And it's also physical.
Or if you're 14.
It's like not necessarily getting to know people or getting like breaking the ice. And I think like games are fun. Like what you play Citizens or Citizens of
Cards Against Humanity.
Thank you. Citizens of Humanity.
I want to be one of those. Yes. And also not always like, the sexy icebreaker things. But here's the other thing with sexy icebreakers, though. I think you and I would probably feel the same way about this. We don't want it to be all fucking complicated. We want we don't want to like read the rules and let's like have it somewhat simplified. Yet we can have conversations that can be titillating or sexy or just connecting
or fun.
Fun and fun at the same time.
Where it's like not all pressure. Like, okay, tell me about your deepest fantasy, and like
wait, do you have like 2 hours while I think about this?
Yeah.
So we discovered this game, and it is essentially the ultimate conversation card game called I'm Curious to Know, and it is created by Kiki Said So and Medina Monroe from the Cocktails Dirty Discussions podcast. We absolutely love them.
They were on our show like years ago.
Yes.
And they're part of our podcast network.
Yes. And so we got this deck, and it is not only fun and not only sexy for couples to connect, but you can play this with your friends. Like April and I could sit in a restaurant with some other friends that we know or know well or barely know and play this game where you just pick up a card. Okay, well, let's do an example,
It's
April.
super simple. Right. Yeah, we have a deck right here. So here we go. Surprise me.
I'm going to go with the card for April first. April, I'm curious to know what type of porn turns you on.
Well, if anybody's been listening to the podcast in the last couple of years, it's been the step porn, specifically stepdaddy porn. I love it. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's me reclaiming like all of my step parenting wounding from back in the day. I've never wanted to fuck any step parents, everyone, so don't get confused about it. I'm not twisted in that way. That hasn't been my thing ever. I just like the taboo idea of it, like being on film. And I love taking that into the bedroom with my partner, be like, can I call you daddy?
So if I was your partner, either maybe we're not going to do this part, but maybe you'd ask me the same thing and then we could put them together
what about
and
you?
Watch porn together.
Oh, okay.
No, you have a question for me now.
Okay. Here, I'm going to pick a card. Okay. How about when was the last time you cried?
Oh, let's see, 3 days ago. Oh. And the story with that one, I will say, I'm not ready to say on air right now, but I'll just say that it's related to some really, really sad, hard family issues.
Aw. Okay, what about what's your favorite part of your own body?
Ooh, my breasts.
Ooh,
and I'm touching them right now. I really like how full they feel in my hands, and they're nice and squishy in them. If I was actually naked, they're so soft.
Do you want, if I were your partner and we were playing this, do you want me to touch your breasts more often?
Actually, yes. And can I show you how I like them touched? Actually, can I put your hands on my breast, and then I'll take my hands over your hands?
If I was your partner, I'd be like, oh yeah, dog, yeah, that sounds great. And then there's other ones that are, so I just pulled another one. It says something like that's not sexual at all. It's like, if you could travel anywhere in the world right now, where would you go? I love this question.
Yeah.
Where would you go, Amy?
It's anywhere. Oh my God, anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Well, you and I we have a list, but I really we want to go to Korea for my 40th birthday, but I really want to go, let's see, to Korea, to Africa, to Peru. I'd have to think of it. If it's only one place, I'd say I need to press pause and really think for at least 5 minutes.
Doesn't say one. I would say for me, French Polynesia, Korea, Japan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love this
South
game.
Africa, Zimbabwe.
And there's so many cards and so many options to choose
deck
from.
Is massive. And it's so simple, y'all. The instructions are it's not, some games I get confused. I'm like, wait, what do you do? How do you
saying those long instructions?
This is simple. And the deck, I mean, there's plenty of options. You could work with this for years and not probably get through all of them. With a big group of humans, it's a conversation starter.
Or with current partners, new partners. So everyone, again, this was made by the lovely, lovely humans from the Cocktails Dirty Discussions podcast. We love them so much. Order your deck now from imcurioustoKnow.com today. And if you use code shameless, you get a sweet little discount on your order.
Ooh, sweet.
Go. I mean, what do you have to lose?
And there's other decks out there. I think this one is awesome, but I know that there's one like 101 Nights of
so
Great
that one's
Sex.
not a deck. So that is a book.
Oh, it's a book.
So it's a book, and I still love that one, but it's just for couples, right? I wouldn't just hang out with you and have a cocktail and do that because it's like a lot more like couples world.
Oh yeah,
I still think it's awesome. It has those pages that you can't see until you open them.
Right.
101 Nights of Great Sex is another
sex
option.
Position cards that we had at Pure Pleasure Shop.
Those are just
too.
more like silly, people can't do most of the things.
And they're also for partners.
Yeah.
So this is like something for anyone.
Yeah. So with that if you want like the super couples, whatever in-depth thing that we're talking about, that is actually awesome. It's award winning, the 100 Nights of Great Sex. You can go to purepleasureshop.com. You get 15% off with coupon code shameless sex. And if you want the ultimate conversation card game that you can use with anyone, partners, friends, acquaintances, all the humans, definitely go and get this. It's not a lot of money. Again, by Cocktails Dirty Discussions. Go to imcurioustoKnow.com and use code shameless.
Game that gets you. And you could order our book too from purepleasureshop.com.
That's true. You get all things.
And you get 15% off that too. So, all right, that's awesome. I'm stoked that we had this little game on the show.
This game's great when we get off this. Oh, actually, you and I have a lunch date on Friday. We should bring it to the lunch date.
Well, we have other things to do, but
it could be our icebreaker for hanging out. I want to know more about you.
We need a lot of that. A lot of ice breaking. Okay, are you ready for the bio?
Yes.
April Hirschman is the author of the self-help book, Best Breakup Ever. Her new memoir, Desire Makes Me Brave, came out in March 2024. She is a sex and relationship coach and the host of the Heart Centerfold Memoir podcast. She is also a belly dancer, a filmmaker, and yoga instructor. To learn more, go to aprilhirschman.com.
All right, everyone, is interview time, and we are here with a very special episode called April Squared. Just kidding, that's not what it's called.
Maybe it should be.
Oh, it's an Amy sandwich.
Oh,
Triple A team. A team. So I'm Amy, as you know, but we have my girlfriend April Lamper over here, but we have April Hirschman here, author of the new book, Desire Makes Me Brave. And we are super excited to talk to April. And it's not just about this book. We're talking about how to lose your erotic virginity, something about like a slut oath or something about something along those lines.
You gotta let it take its own quilting, like it's a quilt, making its way to be this beautiful blanket that you can wrap yourself in.
Just like this pillow April has that a young person's made for her that is a nip or a breast.
I asked her for it.
She commissioned like a 15-year-old.
No, she's 12 and she loves crocheting genitals. Her mom told me, she's like, so and
it matches our book cover.
And I asked her, I was like, and she's going to make a vulva next.
And it matches April Hirschman's book cover because we have the same colors on our book.
Yeah,
but it's not about all these things. So here we go. Okay. So anyways, y'all heard a little bit about April Hirschman in the bio. And as you know, if you listen to Shameless Sex all the time, we always want to learn more about our guests. So April, we're so happy to have you on our show. And can you please tell us and our listeners a little bit more about how you got into the field of sexuality?
Yeah. Well, it started with having permissive/neglectful parents. So there wasn't, but to their credit, they weren't very shaming. And so we could have like boyfriends over to stay the night at our house when we were like 16, me and my sisters, whenever we got that age. So that was nice. And I think also being a belly dancer was a big part of it. When I was doing belly dancing, it was a lot at like women only queer goddess worshiping events. So we would like dance topless and feel really safe. And it was all about like sisterhood and expressing our sexuality in a really safe way and a really fun way. So I think belly dancing really got me into my body and feeling comfortable being seen sensually. And then next up, my sister Celeste Hirschman and her business partner Danielle Harrell started the Somatica Embodiment Sex Training Institute. And so in 2020, I did that training and now I'm a sex and relationship coach.
Oh, nice.
And I did in 2016. Woo!
Yeah. Is that what? So wait, so April, you did it in what year?
2020.
Yeah.
Interesting year to do it too. With their like paper bags or like masks over everyone's faces, like, hey, can't touch me here. Or like you had to like saran wrap yourself. Or was it online?
Yeah, so it was so weird because, right, I could have done it for like over a decade. The moment I chose to do it, it was online, and I was really upset at first. And then it turned out to be the best because I was living alone. I was mostly single, and I had connection through Zoom training, and I had a whole new career birthed during the pandemic. So it was actually perfect.
And that career was needed not only just now, but during the pandemic, like the online work too. So.
Exactly.
To do with my relationship besides watching Netflix every fucking day. And we met you in person when we did our first kind of book party, like our official. I was stoked to meet you because I've known your sister digitally as well. And I hadn't met her in person. And then she was like, this is my sister, April. I was like, what? You have a sister named April? I already love her. And you were fantastic. And to have you on the show, that was in November, I believe, that we met. And now this is already, oh my God, it's May 2024. But it's fabulous to see you. And I know you also are a California human. You live in California. And this work that you're doing, your new book, and as well as the work that you have done before and through this like beautiful lens of having, I believe your sister is probably some sort of motility device. That sounds weird, like a sperm, but you know, like a motility device to like maybe activate this sort of desire seeking bravery. But I don't know if it has anything to do with her. It's probably just about you too. But let's get on with my question, April, my April. Not you, April. Your new book. So it's titled Desire Makes Me Brave, which I love. So desire is a huge part of our book, Shameless Sex. And so I love this title. So how does desire make you or anyone or everyone brave?
Yeah. So brave desire is definitely connected with confidence, and it's also connected with being queer. So being bisexual, you can't be quiet about it. You kind of have to be brave. You have to be like, I want to date women. I want to figure out how to approach a woman. So if you're heterosexual, it's much easier to just sort of fit in without having to claim anything, right? Because usually people don't claim their heterosexuality, or if they do, it can be annoying. But if you're queer, you have to claim it. So just that alone is very brave. And then I grew up in a hippie commune. I'm an extrovert. So I, most of the time, am pretty brave about approaching women to date is very terrifying. So I just try to be brave and give myself a little pep talk. So those are some of the manifestations of it.
Yeah.
Is that the same for everyone? Like even people that perhaps are penis owners, like, because it's about like anyone, like, can anyone relate to being brave by just like jumping out of their own shell, especially if it comes to bisexuality or their own sexuality?
Yeah, I think so. And it's definitely not just about being queer, being bisexual. It's really about not choosing, what's easy or what's normative, and just checking in with yourself. Like, what do I want? And what will it take for me to get that? And my book shows a very alternative way of being in the world, just because that's who I am. I don't have kids. I've never been married. And I focus a lot on like travel, art. And so I hope my life in itself is an example of how to have brave desire without a roadmap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, where's the roadmap at, everyone? I mean, I guess we both created books that's trying to give people a roadmap in different ways. And so I think that it's like, once we're adults, we are like, okay, if we choose to go on that journey, like, where's the roadmap to figure out my desire, my sexuality, like, how am I aroused? Who am I into? All these things. How do I exist in this world as an erotic person? So, and then continuing on with the roadmap, this is something that you and I talked about earlier. And I know that, you and I, April, we talked about April, other April, not April, never talked about how the term virginity, we're not in love with, and yet it's kind of hard to find another term for this that people relate to. So we're going to go with this word, knowing that virginity is a little loaded, everyone. But what does it mean to lose your erotic virginity? And what does this process entail?
Yeah, that's what one of the themes are. Definitely one of the big themes in this book. So yeah, we certainly aren't born. No, we aren't born knowing everything. And it's like none of us got sex education. So losing your erotic virginity for me was like at each stage, me trying something that felt unfamiliar, but I wanted to experience to increase my pleasure. So I used to be really quiet around sex. And then I started making sounds, which felt inauthentic at first and then became involuntary, which was great. I can still remember, I talk about a lover in Nepal in my book, the first time I like touched my clit while he was penetrating me, which felt at the time like very bold. I know this is maybe not as bold now, but that felt really intense and edgy. And now that's just my lovers have to know that's how I have to do it. And so it's just different eras of our life where we explore different things about our own pleasure.
And so you're taking like an inventory, like you're looking back at all these parts of like when I was, 16, 18, 25 and like where was I not being vocal? Where was I making a sound that was vocal that was not me? Or where was I, not advocating for myself or touching myself or, so is it like that kind of thing? Is like a journaling exercise or?
Right. Well, journaling is always a good idea. I love that actually. Maybe we're creating something right now, like an inventory of what you've experienced, what you don't want to experience, and what you do want to experience. That'd be a fun, like 3-column thing. And for me, it just sort of happened organically. I didn't write about it as much, but I definitely talk about it in the book, like which levels. And there's always more, right? We're always shedding more erotic virginity.
Yeah, I think maybe virginity, because virginity has such this biblical essence to it, right? So sometimes it can be, it's not triggering for me. I don't give a fuck like about a lot of things unless people are like saying something that's really vile and hateful. But like virginity does have this biblical sense, and a lot of sex educators are like, oh, we shouldn't say lose your virginity, which I agree with. It is having sex for the first time. So maybe it's like this first time, this essence of something that is created in your sexuality for the first time, where you've had this experience. And I remember the first time that I was able to, and it was not that long ago, to be honest with you, where I was able to orgasm from oral alone without anything else, an oral tongue, an oral mouth and I was like, I just popped my oral cherry because that has not happened to me before. And so it's sort of this like, what is your essence of the first time you experience this thing with your sexuality?
It's like an opening,
that
right?
opens, opens Pandora's box to what is more. So, and then we keep talking about maps, but what I'm thinking about, because you talked about the map and we talk about maps in our book. And I'm like, damn it, we should have said something else in the book, because there's some people that are probably listening right now that could be in like their 20s that aren't millennials that are like, the fuck is a map? Like that's like something you plug into Google and it tells you where to go. So it's like, think of it as a GPS. It's Siri. Yo, Siri, how the fuck do you get your sexuality open? So it's about reading or having someone read to you. So I was thinking about that. I mean, I don't want to say right, but I'm like, what do y'all think about that? Is it a GPS? That.
And then in 20 years, it won't be called GPS. It'll be something else.
It'll be called Mr. Roboto.
Yeah. Your erotic. Yeah. Your erotic map to your GPS to your erotic Roboto.
Yeah. Erotic blueprint.
To getting you to space, to Saturn and sitting on the sun.
Ooh.
Damn, that might burn them.
That's a lot of S's.
All right.
That's going to chafe.
Yeah. Definitely. We'll come back to this, everyone. Okay, so I have a question there. Those were just like a little bit of my insightful processes that I was going through as I was listening, because I'm really appreciating this journey, April, and thank you for sharing. And I'm excited to learn more about your book. But first, okay, what happens? That's not a commercial time, everyone. Okay, so don't start fast fucking forwarding like you usually do. So what happens next in terms of your erotic virginity, your erotic openness, your erotic essence of like what's happening with your sexuality when you experience this one thing for the first time, or these many things for the first time? After someone has reviewed the different eras of their own erotic self, so I know that you've talked about it in a few different ways, but what if they haven't been able to advocate for themselves or been able to discover themselves? What the fuck do they do next?
Yeah. And when we're in higher arousal, it's harder to advocate for ourselves if we've been, socialized to be pleasers, which most people socialize as women have. And to be honest, it still happens. Like I recently had sex where I didn't advocate for myself a lot. So to just de-shamify it, right? Yeah. Boundaries are an imperfect science. So yeah, but we really want our partner or partners to be advocating for ourselves too. Like that could just be a conversation before you have sex. Like I want to advocate for myself, but I want you to advocate for me too. And I was also telling a partner, like it's a whole thing to have like a vulva and a vagina. And, you know, we can get UTIs and yeast infections easier. And it's like, I want, if that happens, it happened to us. And I want you to go to the drugstore with me or whatever, you know, like, so how can we feel more collaborative and like we're taking care of each other's physical boundaries, health boundaries, or health safety together?
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Yeah.
You can test like the pH of your entire body by your vagina sometimes.
Those vaginas are powerful.
They are.
Yeah, they're powerful. Yeah. Anything goes in there and they're just like killing germs off of it immediately. It's so powerful.
It's like a barometer. You're like, wait, is there going to be an earthquake inside my body? Oh no, I'm going to get sick soon. My vagina's unhappy.
That's like the next science that the vaginas are the ones that we're able to tell us when the earthquakes are coming.
Like, I can tell when it's going to rain. I'm just like,
that makes sense.
No, here it's like testing the direction of the wind with your finger and
just like put her finger as if it was going in her pussy. By the way, yeah. So I'm curious with what you said. In this ties with that. With the speaking up for yourself and people pleasing, how has being a bisexual woman made it hard for you to get out of the habit of people pleasing and focus and actually focusing on what you want? Like, and how does this relate to bisexuality?
Yeah, it's really hard to not be a people pleaser as a bisexual because we don't fit into a box. We don't fit into a completely straight bar, or we don't fit into a queer bar. There's no bisexual bars, you know? So I have found myself, and it happens even now, wanting to edit myself for my audience. Like, if I'm talking to straight people or people I perceive to be conventional, and then it feels hard to say, and then my ex-girlfriend, and then when I'm a really queer space or it's during Pride, I can feel this desire to not say, oh, my boyfriend or my ex-boyfriend. So it's really hard to navigate that. And in the book, I talk about me and my sister used to host the bisexual film night at Frameline Film Festival. And this sort of kind of older, stooped, not super attractive gay man, was asking me what I was doing with the festival. And I was like, oh, I'm doing a bisexual night. And he's like, oh, well, I'm not bisexual. I have a husband. And he physically backed away from me. Like bisexuality was some disease he could catch just by talking to me. And that there was any world in which I was hitting on him. And so it's just an example of how, right, this is a queer event. This is a queer man who's shaming me about my bisexuality. And then, people are used to seeing you with a woman and then they see you with a man and they're like, what's this about? And that just is like constant. So I really try to be like, April, don't play to your audience. Like, just tell the truth. Tell the truth about your history and what's happening in the moment.
That's so dope. Buckle up, everybody, because Butter Wellness is here to change the game.
That's right. Butter is different, and it's all about education, innovation, and making things approachable for dudes, because let's face it, it's hard to find a sexual wellness brand for the modern and sexually adventurous dude.
And they've launched with a bang, introducing the Perineum Massager. It's the only device designed to externally stimulate the male G-spot. No insertion, just pure external magic. Imagine stronger, full body orgasms. Some folks even call them super O's.
The Perineum Massager helps combat erectile challenges and promotes prostate health by increasing blood flow to the pelvic region. Stronger erections and better prostate health, that's a no-brainer.
Plus, it's a fantastic couples toy. My partner and I both love how it feels between our legs, and we'll switch off using it during playtime. So whether it's for him, her, or them, this little gadget can take foreplay or the entire show to the next level.
And don't forget the Butter Starter Kit, which includes the Perineum Massager and their pH Balance lightweight water-based lubricant. It's like a 1-2 punch of pleasure and comfort.
And right now, Butter Wellness is offering our listeners 20% off your order when you enter code SHAMELESS at butterwellness.com. That's Butter Wellness, BUTTERWELLNESS, and use code SHAMELESS to get 20% off the Perineum Massager. Don't miss out. Visit butterwellness.com, use code SHAMELESS, and check the episode's description for the link.
I'm a picky ass bitch when it comes to my sex toys, but I've always loved Fun Factory.
Not going to shame you, but you totally are a picky ass bitch.
I know, it's true. Proud. So Fun Factory makes the most incredibly gorgeous butt plugs, dual stim vibrators, dildos, even Kegel balls that are made from the best materials in the world. And they exclusively sell my favorite water-based lube. Yeah, picky about that too. Sutil. Sutil actually brings slick, long-lasting, non-sticky moisture to your play with ingredients that soothe and balance the body to keep you in the mood, and it's water-based, which is unheard of because most other water-based formulas, well, they're a little difficult. I don't really love them. Their ingredients include everything from hyaluronic acid and lotus root to give you long-lasting hydration with long-term benefits. And guess what, y'all? Fun Factory is offering our listeners 20% off their entire site when you go to us.funfactory.com and use code shameless at checkout.
Hyaluronic acid is the best. I use it on my face all the time. It can help alleviate painful sex, and when used regularly, it can even help counter vaginal dryness and atrophy. Sutil can be used with all sex toys. Everyone, we always get asked that question. That's right, any sex toys. So it's time for you to go get yourself this 20% off because Fun Factory is just offering it for you. All you have to do is go to us.funfactory.com and use code shameless at checkout. Again, that is us.funfactory.com and use code shameless at checkout, and you will get 20% off their entire site, including Sutil Lube. Just go have some fun in the bedroom with Fun Factory and Sutil right now. Okay, so I don't have any issues with like the long LGBTQIA plus acronym, but like I have advocated because when I was doing getting my certification, and I feel like I had a certification, but I started really diving deep into the sexuality, like getting my sex ed certification. And there are a lot of folks that advocate for this term like gender and relationship diversity rather than LGBTQIA plus because it simplifies everything where you don't have to feel like I'm bisexual. I'm labeling myself as asexual. I'm labeling myself as gay. I'm labeling myself as lesbian. Because it's so fluid. How can we? And then when you meet some folks and if you just say like, I'm on this flag of this gender and relationship diversity flag instead of this long 12-letter going process, it also makes like the normies out there more comfortable thinking like, oh, I represent and I advocate for gender and relationship diversity, not just the flag of LGBTQIA plus, which I respect all the folks that are under all those flags, but it just kind of solidifies like what I thought in the back of my brain when I first learned that. And it's a bummer that it's like, oh, you're bisexual. So you're automatically getting labeled as this thing that you're taking on all of these other people's labels about what bisexuality means. And maybe that is something that is like liberating for folks to be like, well, I identify as a pansexual, and that's like liberating for them, or demisexual, and that's liberating for them. That's great. But like there's like so many ways that folks could get the message across without having to feel like they have to identify as something specific in that whole like non-binary world of sexuality where it's just like it's vast.
It seems a lot like we're using neurodiversity now instead of like, oh, you must be ADD when like I don't even know if you are or not.
Or they're like, it's neurodivergent.
But then some people within that might be like, I'm neurodivergent, but I am, ADHD and I own that as who I am. And so
this is such a juicy topic because I love that term, gender and sexual diversity, because it puts us all together where it still feels like with the flag and the alphabet soup, we're still being marginalized and straight people or heteronormative people are being centralized. So I think that is a really great way to look at it. I mean, language is really evolving right now. And I loved in high school when I would just be tipsy and I would lean over and kiss my women friends and we didn't interrogate each other. Well, what does this mean? Are you a lesbian? Well, what does this mean? Are you bisexual? It just felt like an expression of free love. It felt like an expression of feminism. Like, of course, I'm going to turn over and kiss this woman. And it was so beautiful to be in that time where it wasn't named. And the thing about claiming bisexual is, bisexual was very recently, pathologized. And so when we claim it and name it, we have a history, we have a flag, we have all those people that fought for it and they deserve to be named. And so I really want to live in a both and world. I want to move more towards what you're saying about the gender and sexual diversity and putting us all in the same pool. And it's ever shifting like water. And also, how do we hold the stories of, our trans folks and our queer folks and lesbians and gays and et cetera that did that work. And without a name, they couldn't have done it. Like, that's the thing about, they used to call gay or lesbian the love that had no name. And I talk about bisexual as the love that has no place. Again, we don't have a bar. So yeah, this is such a delicious topic.
This is, and I do appreciate you saying like giving our like honor and to the people that did fight for the labels, for the naming of what these sexualities are. And I'm not disassociating myself from that. And I don't want folks out there too. I just think it might at this point be easier on everybody else that's outside of that for now to consider something that's more simplistic, because our fucking brains cannot take any more complications. And it's triggering for like straight white cis fucking dudes out there that they want to be woke on some level, but they can't be because they feel like it's too complicated. And I'm not speaking for the straight fucking white dudes. I'm speaking for pretty much like any of my Midwestern friends that are like, I just feel so uncomfortable when it comes to this. And I'm like, that's okay to feel uncomfortable. So simplifying it would be great. But Amy has a question about your book. So we're going to get onto that.
This goes hand in hand with what we were just talking about, though, because so in your book, you talk about having periods where you only date men and then you only date women. So this is my multifaceted question. So have you always been, and I'm going to say this in a way where like, most people think that bisexuals are like across the board equally into men and women or all genders, although all genders would be more pansexual. But have you always been, air quotes, equally into all genders? And was there anything in your life that moved you to choose to date one gender over the other at different times? Like right now, I'm just going to date men, and then the men thing didn't work out, so I'm just going to date women. Like what was that like for you?
Yeah, well, we're socialized to, as a woman, to be attracted to men. So it's hard to unpack, right? How much of it was like, yeah, I'm definitely attracted to men and masculinity, and I'm attracted to masculinity and women too. And it's hard to unpack, well, is that socialization or is that inherent, especially when you're young. So when I was younger, I was definitely dating men more. And then it was a bit of a leap to have my first girlfriend because it was still felt very taboo. And so different eras, when I had my girlfriend Becca and we were together about 7 years, I was just, I was in San Francisco and I have this great pride crew, and it was just fun to just really immerse myself in the queer community. But it doesn't mean I wasn't still attracted to men. I think what I've stopped doing is to say like, oh, I'm only going to be with women now, or I'm only going to be with men, because I am on this earth long enough to realize that that's not true. And it feels really, really nice to just know, it can shift at any time.
Word for that, April. Word for that. So your book also shares stories about threesomes, and our listeners, a lot of people outside of even our listenership, love learning about threesomes. Our book has a whole section on that. So first off, are we talking about like FFM? Are we talking about MMF? Or are we talking about FFF? Are we talking about bi folks? Are we talking about the perfect unicorn? Are we talking about all of this shit? And people that are like, what is this FF, MMF? Is it ABCD? Is it WWF? No. And UFC? No.
And I think just are all bi folks like the perfect unicorn? And are all bi folks into threesomes?
Right. So of course I can't speak for all bi folks, but I will speak for myself. I do like threesomes, but it's hard to succeed at them. It's been hard for me. And it so much depends on like, is this a couple? Am I part of the couple? Are we all strangers in the night? And I have mostly done female, male. And I would love to do male, male, female. I would love to do female, female, female. When I ever tell my queer women friends like that I've had failed threesomes, are they like, what was it with 2 other women? I'm like, no. And they're like, that's why I failed. I was like, okay, great. Probably true. So yeah, I talk about some of my threesomes. I've had a lot of failed threesomes, and I feel like they failed often because they didn't bring me closer to people. They brought me further away. And you and I, or all of us, were talking about tips, for a threesome. And I think one of the tips is asking people in advance, what do you want after this threesome? And I'm not just talking about cuddles and, words of affirmation afterwards, like, do you want to text the next day? Do you want to text the next week? Do you want flowers? Do you want us to ever to see each other again? Are we going to be friends? Or are we going to continue to be lovers? Because what I call, my failed, which is maybe too strong of a word, but the threesomes that I didn't like is I got less connected from those people. In fact, there's 2 incidents where I never saw those people again. And that's not what I wanted.
Oh my God, that's such a good point. So please continue, because I have such a deep, juicy question after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was just thinking of other tips that people don't always think of. And before you have the threesome, I think it's good to talk about what are your healing senses. So a healing sense is if you get triggered, if you get upset, what do you need to hear that's just going to bring you right back into your body and make you feel loved or cared for? So healing senses could be, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for you, right? Especially if I have abandonment. Healing senses could be like, hey, you told me that sometimes you check out. Are you checking out right now, honey? That could be your healing sentence. Or it could be, I need you to tell me, I just want to be with you. I don't need anything from you. So maybe that's the healing sentence. So if you know in advance, it can create so much of a bridge between someone's trigger and upset. And then you say that sentence and you can often get back into pleasure, get back into threesome, as opposed to someone feeling like, I'm so upset, I'm triggered, I have to leave, and we don't want that to happen.
Okay. I'm totally down with this advice. And I agree with you on that. And my question is, because this has come up not only for me, but some of my friends in terms of the threesomes to have and with whom, right? Because friends, is it a no or is it a yes or is it a maybe? So, because there are certain friends like Amy, I know her and I could never be in a sexual relationship with another dude. We could probably fuck maybe in the same room with our dudes or other people, but I know that I could not like eat her pussy. Like I know that.
Oh yeah, please don't.
And the same, like we are like siblings. There are certain friends that I'm like, that I've had over that at my house before that because of my career. And this is why I'm asking you, I really want your fucking true opinion, where they're like hot, gorgeous female friends. I identify as probably a pansexual person, maybe bisexual, but it actually depends. Right now, I'm mostly focusing on the penis owning partner that I have. So
April, you're saying I have a chance?
Yeah.
April's weird. April's weird.
April on April action.
Yeah.
April on.
So
sorry,
I've got this
sorry.
amazing, I fucking love it too. Next time. And yes, I'm totally open to that. But I dated my best friend that was a woman when I was 19, and we dated for like dating, meaning we fucked and we were like together for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And it ruined our fucking friendship. She came out after that. And I swore to myself then that I would never, ever fuck a friend that I considered someone that was a friend, especially a vulva owner. So I've had friends now in my career, like fast forward, that have been like, yo, I'm down. Or they've said that to me and my partner. And I'm like, this is a safe space. It's not going to happen. But I'm like, we're not that good of friends. So I'm like, maybe that'd be okay. But is it going to be weird? And I'm like, I don't know. So then I get in my head and then I'm like, now it definitely can't happen because now I'm too fucking in my head. So I want to know, and this is not about me, but I'm just curious, like, should you fuck your friends or should you leave it behind? Does it just depend on the person? What do you think?
Yeah, it so depends on the person. There's some friends where the wall is up and it's never going to come down. And other ones, I must say, I'm very flirty with my friends. I'm very non-hierarchical. So if I have a partner, I'm still sending, roses and cards and, love and kisses to my friends too. So I don't differentiate, but having sex is crossing a line. And I think like everything, it's like a good conversation with yourself, a good conversation with them. Like, what will this mean? I've had a friend hit on me when she was really drunk And she really wanted to kiss me, and I didn't really want to. I mean, this was when I was in my 20s, and I just kissed her because I didn't want her to feel rejected, so I don't want to do that anymore. I also want us to live in a world where we could just be playful with our friends. Like for me, I must say, if things go below the waist, it has a lot more gravity. Like, if someone gets near my pussy, it's like this invisible golden cord comes out of my pussy and wraps around them. And there's issues and connection, and it's complicated. For me, if it doesn't go below the belly button and we just make out and touch chests or touch boobs, like that can be really fun. And the stakes aren't as high. And I actually am kind of curious for you both, like if you can relate to that, or it's not so much about below the waist for both of you.
Yeah, 100% below the waist. It's more deep for me.
Time for a quick break to talk about one of our sponsors who just so happens to be our absolute favorite lube, Uberlube. Uberlube is a luxurious silicone lubricant, and it enhances intimacy. It's there when you want it, and it blends in when you're done with it, so you have control over that lube. It's long lasting and leaves the skin extra velvety, and honestly, y'all, I want it all over my body. Thousands of doctors in the U.S. are recommending Uberlube to their patients. It's body-friendly, less likely to change the pH, and it has vitamin E, so it feels extra moisturizing.
There's a reason why we've been a fan of Uberlube for years. There's no flavor or scent. It's even great for oral sex, everyone. But it's not just great for sex. You can use it for massage, your hair. You can prevent chafing. It even brings out the colors of your beautiful tattoos. And the bottle is absolutely gorgeous. It looks more like a cosmetic, so you can leave it anywhere shamelessly for easy access. Just go to uberlube.com and use the discount code shameless10 to get 10% off and free shipping. Again, that's uberlube.com right now with code shameless10 for 10% off and free shipping. This podcast is also brought to you by OMGS.com. Join over 1 million people who are experiencing more pleasure with OMGS. They take scientific research of thousands of vulva owners, showing techniques to pleasure that pussy. They turn this research into tasteful, educational short videos, animated modules, and infographics. OMGS is for anyone who wants to learn about vulva pleasure or take it to the next level. Want to take your orgasms from good to out of this world? Then check out OMGS. Or if you're a vulva lover and want to up your pussy pleasuring skills, then you need to check out OMGS.
I've personally been recommending OMGS to my clients for years, and it's completely changed their lives. They have 3 seasons: external pleasure, internal pleasure, and sex toys. It's not a subscription service, and you don't need to download a thing. OMGS also makes a fabulous gift, and your purchase supports more pleasure research. So just go to omgs.com/shameless to get 10% off right now. Again, that's omgs.com/shameless to receive 10% off unlimited access towards enhancing your pleasure power. The link is in the episode's description. Actually, I just had an experience like 2 days ago with, went on a new date with someone, and, we spent a lot of time talking, and it was awesome and wonderful. And we were both like wanting to hook up with each other, but waiting for the other person to hit on. And this is a man, a penis owner, waiting for the other person to like make a move. And I can see why he didn't make a move, because I'm like, fuck the patriarchy now. So he's like, wait for you to is there. So, and then anyways, we got late, like 11 p.m. And then it was like, okay, well, time to go. And so I'm like, do you want me to, walk you to your car, and we can make it out of your car? And he's like, okay, yeah. And then, I was
in your
like,
car, on his car,
not by his car.
Okay.
Cause we hadn't, and I was like, yeah. So honestly, I've been trying to figure out, like, are you into me? I think you are. Cause we've been talking for like 7 hours, and,
yeah,
but I can't figure out. And he was like, oh, no, I'm into him. Like, oh, he's like, I just didn't want to be the creepy guy. So that's why I was waiting for you to initiate. And so then I was like, oh, okay, I totally get it. There's nothing creepy about telling me like, hey, I'd like to kiss you. Can I kiss you? And he's like, oh, okay. So, hey, I'd like to kiss you. Can I kiss you? And then we started making out. But then like, and like, there was, hot and heavy making out. But at that point, I had to assess, like, if it goes below the belly button, to me at least, we need to invest some more time in that. Like it's already 11 p.m. We've been hanging out since 3. This opens up all kinds of other portals and doors. So that's when I like what you were talking about. That's when I was like, I think like let's just keep it above the pants, and then bookmark that here. And then in the future, if we hang out again, then maybe the pants come off. And he was like, all good. Totally got it. Like, did I want to fuck him? Yes, but I knew like there was a lot more to it if I did.
I have the stakes are higher. Like if we go below the pants, I definitely want a call the next day, or I want connection, or I want texting. And then our totally socialized brain, female brain, says, you should want to marry me. You touch my pussy, which I get that is completely irrational, but I didn't make these rules. They came to me when I was too young. And so I just know that about myself. So it's very rare that I go below the belt on a first date. That's just a way,
me too,
because then if they disappear, I'm upset. Like if you're going to ghost, then I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I had a dear lesbian friend that when I was going through my divorce, because I was in the queer scene for a minute in LA, and we were like just hanging out like we normally did. We probably drank a little bit too much. And I was like, you know what? I've been with women. They just can't. And I generalized, sorry, everyone, this is way before the podcast and all my education, but I was like, women just can't make me come. And she's like, I bet I could. And I was like, I don't think so. And she's like, let me have a chance. I was like, okay, fine. So she took a shot at it. And
home court advantage.
But I was also drinking. I was also in my head because I was like, my friend is fucking me right now. And number 3, I was like, yeah, like I think that I was slightly like almost about to have my moon cycle happen. And so anyway, what happened was I didn't orgasm, and we're still homies now. I love her so much. And we laugh about that shit because there was like no like turn on or making out. It was more like her trying. It was almost like a bet.
It's like experimental.
Yeah, it was like experimental. Yeah. But that didn't change our friendship. And so that went outside of my typical box. So that's why I was wondering about y'all. And like
sounds like it went into your box.
Yeah, it totally did.
And I feel like with Amy, you've been good about hooking up with dude friends because you don't really hook up with female friends that you have, but like dude friends you've like or stayed friends with or had like sexual experiences. And I feel like that's easier for me than women friends.
Yeah, a lot of what we've been talking about, the threesome stuff, I'm like, a lot of this just applies to like one-on-one sex, right? Like what you were saying earlier, April, about your tips and advice for threesomes. And it was like, the same would apply also. I know we're talking about threesomes, but just anyone that you're hooking up with, and so I think, and maybe you can let me know what you think about this, April. I think threesomes can, and like the knowledge between how to do threesomes can really inform just one-on-one sex in a really powerful way, because it's like, things are more complicated, but then with one-on-one, it's like condensing a lot of the same conversations that could be useful.
Yeah. I learned to exercise at a Tantra event with Steve and Lokita, and they sat across from each other and they kind of made these gestures with their hands like, this is what I want to take out of our sex time together. And it's like judgment, being critical, worrying. And then this is what I want to put into my sex, and my connection with you, which is openness and love. And it was such a simple exercise and experience. And I think that's also good for any number of groups that or one individual they're going to have sex with, is doing something like that to create a little intention around it.
Totally.
Intention's everything.
Yeah. And it just makes everything feel safer. Yeah.
Breakfast. Intention.
Pooping. Yeah. Sorry, threw you for a loop with that one.
You know what? Perhaps I haven't thought about it that
Intentional pooping.
Okay, so Miss April, we have to ask you, there's this thing that is called the slut pledge that you have talked about. So we have to ask, what is the slut pledge?
Yeah, I was hanging out with my sister, Celeste Hirschman, and I was just talking about being a slut. And she's like, just claim that. Raise your hand and say, I am a slut. So I did it. We were all doing it. I am a slut. That's
I'm a slut too.
I'm a big old slut. Yep.
That's the slut pledge. And so instead of worrying if people are going to judge us or call us that, we're just claiming it. And so that's the slut pledge. So for all sluts, no one needs to be shamed. No one needs to be stuck in the scarlet letter. And I also want us to come up with more words, especially for women, on what is a sexually empowered woman. But like, I would love to have one word. I can only think of words too, like sexually adventurous, sexually empowered. So get back to me. Or if you think of any now, like just write, if we can't name it, we can't claim it.
Yeah, to our listeners, if you have any ideas, shoot us an email.
What about buttery sluttery?
No, it's 2 words.
That's not. It's connected.
But it's buttery sluttery.
We still got sluttery in there, which is fine.
Buttery?
But yeah, I'm trying to think of words that just. So this is another thing that I would love for us to do. So what we've done in our culture in any group is marginalized is we've reclaimed the slur, right? We've reclaimed queer. We've reclaimed slut. We've reclaimed dyke, everything, right? Which is great, but think about it. Then we're never naming ourselves. And we're starting with a word that was fraught from the beginning, right? We've made it beautiful. You know, that probably the N word is the most complicated one, you know, that anyone could, you know, deal with. But all of it is like, that wasn't what African-American people chose. They weren't like, let's work with this word. No, this is always what the oppressor puts on us. So those, I'm both and. We're not going to get rid of all of these slurs that we've reclaimed. But what if we had words for ourselves? What would we call ourselves? Where is that conference where we're saying, what do we want to call sluts? What do we want to call dykes? What do we want to call queers? In addition to, because some of that is almost elementary school logic. Oh yeah, you called me a slut. Well, I'm going to claim I'm a slut. Great. We've benefited from that, but let's mature and have a discussion about self-naming.
Any of our friends out there with a PhD in linguistics? Oh, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. That I'm gonna probably have dreams about this now, and then all of a sudden it'll pop in. It would probably, and then it'll be like, really? And I wake up like, that is not relevant.
I
at
have
all.
2 friends with PhDs in linguistics. I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
One lives in
reach out to
LA.
them.
I should reach out to her. She had a baby, so I haven't heard from her in a while.
Well, she has time to think about the word slut then. Perfect.
Yeah.
Meaning she probably doesn't. But okay, so we have to wrap up soon, but we would love to learn more about what people can expect from Desire Makes Me Brave. And you also have another book all about breakups. Can you tell us a little bit more about that one as well?
Yeah, well, I'll start with my newest baby, Desire Makes Me Brave, because it came out in March. So what I think is unique about it is the way that I break the fourth wall and talk directly to the reader. And that helped to me not get overwhelmed by having a arc and a theme. It just made me be like, this is who I am. And so that's something that's fun and unique. The other thing, which I've never seen in a book, and maybe it exists and I don't know about it, is I actually put what my editors have said throughout the book. Like, April, you know, what are your truths? You should explore them. And I put that like at the very end of the book, which doesn't make any sense, you know? So it's been really fun to mess with the literary canon, the literary traditions, and just like throw my editor's comment in there. And often I'm like arguing with them. Like, they told me to do this thing and I couldn't do it, but I published my book anyway. So that's been fun to get feedback about that. But mainly it's really a book about, you know, it's a great beach read because it's a book about travel. So it's really fun to just be reading about my time in Nepal or my time in Spain or my time sledding it up with a jungle beast in, you know, Puerto Vallarta.
Kind of sounds like you and I are, April. We have the same name and maybe some of the similar experiences.
You guys have sledded it up all over the
world. Have you ever hooked up with a Scottish man in Thailand
who had a Prince Albert?
Oh, let's see. Scottish.
If you have, then we are seriously the same person.
Who did I hook up with in Thailand? God, I don't think they had accents, which is such a bummer. I was cheating on my girlfriend at the time, so my Thai hookups were fraught. Yeah, English guy in Nepal before Thailand. I love anyone who's listening. Come at me. I'm pretty much single and I love accents.
Ooh.
So let that be said. Scottish, English to the front, South African.
I can throw on an accent for you. April.
Oh.
Let me take
your nipple out.
She's bringing, yeah. She's got her. Oh, wait, everyone watching on YouTube.
Oh, we've got feathers and nipples.
We got this. Like yellow. Yeah. Oh my God, you guys are both like peacocks attract each other right now.
Yes.
This is awesome.
Oh my God.
This was great.
So
wait, we didn't hear about the other book though. The breakup book.
Thank
the
you.
breakup book. Yes.
Thank you. Yes. We don't want to forget about my first child here. So this came out in 2019, and this is a self-help book. So it's not so much about my breakups, although it comes up a little bit. It's about your breakup and your divorce. Some people have also said that Best Breakup Ever has helped them with like death of someone they love, right? Because that's an ending too. So I wrote Best Breakup Ever because I was looking for support when I was having a breakup, and I went to the library, and out of desperation, I got a book called it's called a breakup because it's broken. And that couple that wrote the book pissed me off, honestly. Like I felt unseen as a bisexual woman. I felt condescended to because it was all about like, things are rough now, pretty lady, but chin up and get a man. And I was like, no. And it's very focused on women. What else did they write? He's just not that into you. So their book,
which is a movie.
Right. With their, their movies and books are very condescending. And I don't know if they're ever going to hear this podcast and if they're coming for me, but yeah. And their breakup book was a lot about women like screaming outside their ex-boyfriend's window. And, hey, that's part of the human experience, but it's very cultivated. And, they really focus on women that go a bit nutso and do all these things that are pretty humiliating after breakups. And it just like makes women seem like a one note, as many romantic comedies make women seem like a one note. So my book got created so that it'd be a place for poly and queer and people that have different relationship styles to feel heard. And it's really different. It has recipes and it has silly advice and it has a lot of humor because breakup books in themselves can be kind of sad. Like I love Pamela Children. I'm a big fan. And there was times where her book, When Things Fall Apart.
Yeah. I read that right after my divorce started.
Yeah. And it worked for me. And then another time I tried to open it up and I'm like, this is so depressing that it's making things worse, So you have to find the special sauce for you in a breakup and divorce. But I think giving someone this book, and I give away a lot of them, when they're going through a breakup or divorce, is a really nice thing to do.
And so both of your books, I believe, they're not for just vulva owners. They're for anybody that is experiencing either a breakup and or someone that wants to maybe explore their bisexuality and learn more about kind of ways to navigate that. Am I correct in saying this?
Yeah, definitely both books are for everyone. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Or anyone just wants a good beach read. Ooh, Desire makes me brave. Yeah. I'm getting that for my next trip.
I love that. Okay, so how can people find you? How can they buy your books? I think that they're everywhere, but here, because you also have a podcast. Give everyone all the juicy ways to find April.
Yeah, I just relaunched my memoir, love, and tarot podcast called Heart Centerfold. And I am April Hirschman on all the socials. So TikTok, IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything. So I'm pretty easy to find. Yeah.
And what about, so can you find your books anywhere books are sold? Or just go to your website?
I love people to do bookstore activism. So please ask for my book at your local bookstore.
Yeah.
And then short of that, you can get it at Bookshop, which also supports local bookstores. And then there's Amazon or Barnes and Noble. So those are all places.
And that's bookshop.org, everyone.
Yes. And we'll have the links in the show notes, but remind us of your website because that will also have all the information where people can buy your book too.
Yeah, it is aprilhirschman.com.
Well, that's easy.
That is easy. And if you don't know how to spell Hirsch, then you can look it up and see, but it's
in the title of this episode.
HIRFHCHMAN. Okay. Hirschman. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I really appreciated this episode. I love a fellow April, and you were born in the month, which is even more beautiful. So you're Aries fire. I love some fire energy. Thank you for sharing just some space with us and your incredible books that I feel like anyone could benefit from. There's no matter who you are out there. You're a human being. You've definitely either been through a breakup or you will probably go through one eventually. And if it's not a breakup, it could be a death. It could be everything in life is a cycle, everyone. So not to tame your little virgin ears, but things do die, but then that creates new life. So remember that. And you can swear and do the slut pledge when you buy Desire Makes Me Brave. You can, be like, hi, I'm April. I'm April too. I swear that I'm a slut too. I'm taking the slut pledge.
Slut for life.
Yeah.
Shameless Sluts. I feel like our books are cousins. Shameless Sex and Desire Makes Me Brave. And we should have a topless book event together.
Yes, let's do it. Well, I'm all about this. And to all of the folks out there, Amy and I are on tour. So come check us out. We'll be in Chicago. We'll be in Portland. We'll be in LA. We'll also be in Seattle. You have to go to shamelesssex.com to find us. You go to connect and you check out where we'll be. We want to see you soon. We're also, at this point, you just missed us in New York. So sorry. But you will see us again. So stay tuned with us and listen to us every single Tuesday. Also rate us on your preferred iTunes /Spotify / whatever the fuck you're listening to us on. You can check us out on YouTube. And if you don't like me saying fuck, then I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry, but I'm not.
She's fucking sorry.
I'm fucking sorry. All right. My voice is back though. I'm really excited about that. Yes. All right. We love you all so much. Thank you for being a shameless sex revolutionary. We'll see you next Tuesday. Ciao for now.
Want to learn more? Go to shamelesssex.com. And for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code shamelesssex at purepleasureshop.com.